El Maestro Speaks.
El Maestro Speaks.
El Maestro Speaks Podcast.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, for those who are listening, with me right now is none other than the longest serving congressman, longest serving mayor of Baguio City, one of the person I look up to, Honorable Congressman Mauricio Domogan. Pero before we have a conversation with him, I would just like to tell you people that ayun nga, I really admire how he keeps up with his schedule. Even Saturday, last Saturday, I came here, ang haba ng pila ng tao. And actually, the Honorable Congressman is trying his best to like accommodate them all. And then, yun nga tinatanong ko sa kanya, sanay na kayo sa ganito, sir? Sanay. Sanay ako. So I was like, oh my God. Kung ako siguro, baka nabanog ako, wala akong. And this is Saturday, mind you, people. So, yeah. One of the reasons why I want to talk with a good congressman right now is last year we had, I think, June din recording natin ng latest podcast with the round 4 or 3 of the podcast with you. And then we were like putting checklist on the things that you will accomplish for the 20th Congress. So may we ask kung ano po na po yung parang na-check na natin doon sa mga to-do list ninyo for this Congress?
Well, good day to all the viewers and listeners of this program.
Yes, sir.
Of course, yung ating mga priority bills, maliban pa sa other bills na talagang tinatalakay ng Kongreso, natural, yun yung tinutukan natin. At yung talagang concern ng ating community in terms of its allocation sa infrastructure project, ay yung allocation sa AIX, ay yung allocation sa of course DULI, food for work, in short, and then yung MAIC, medical assistance to our sick people confined in hospitals. Now, puntahan natin yung mga local bills na talagang tinutukan natin na final.
Yeah.
We did file, of course, yung bill. Una, yung segregation. Ang Gibraltar from Forbes Park Parcel 3 Reservation. Kasi matagal na occupied by residents ito at fortunately the Department of Natural Resources had already approved na ma-segregate ito and convert it into alienable and disposable public lands.
Which means?
Ngunit, hindi pwedeng mangyari yan without an action of Congress.
Okay.
Ito ang dahilan that I refiled. Actually, this was my bill in the 13th Congress. Unfortunately, hindi na-aksyonan na nag-adjourn kami. This time, well, it has already been approved by the committee.
Yeah.
For sure, it will go now to the plenary. At malaking bagay ito, it will settle land issues and ownership over that area of Gibraltar.
Okay.
Para nga, yung mga actual na matagal na occupying these areas can now legally apply for the titling of this parcel 3 of Spark reservation. And of course, it will become their properties.
Oh, yeah.
It legalizes the ownership of these people over this property on the part of the city government. Of course, it will gain also an advantage on this one kasi hindi naman nagbabayad yung mga occupants ng kanilang real property taxes
Yes.
over this property that they have been long time occupying kasi nga wala pang award sa kanila.
Yeah.
You can just imagine the real property tax that will be paid by these people the moment that bill will be enacted and signed into law. So that is one. Second, yung 13 barangays within the Janhi Reservation, of course, final natin yan. And it's a good development kasi noong pinatawag namin sa committee, Special Committee on Business Conversion Development Authority, ang BCDA President, i-manifested on record na sumusuporta sila sa bill. Ito yung diferensya with the previous years kasi wala bang suporta ng BCDA this time. Hindi na sila nag-o-object, sumusuporta na sila. So it was approved in the Special Committee on Business Conversion Development Authority at yung mga members of the committee gusto nilang mag-co-authors sa bill na yan.
Okay.
And then, of course, since it had been approved by the Special Committee on Business Conversion Development Authority, pumunta sa Committee on the Department of Natural Resources and Environment and for the information of our own constituents, specifically those occupying these areas, approved na sa approved na sa Committee on Natural Resources. To again, hinihintay lang natin ito na siguro when we will resume last week of July, pupunta na sa plenary at aakyat sa Senado. I do not see any complicated issues about this.
Yeah.
Yung sinasabi ni President Bingkang na yung proceeds, may babayaran yung mga tao over these properties kung applyan nila for titling should go to the national government. Of course, we beg to disagree kasi may provision ng city charter na lahat ng proceeds sa sale, interest, surcharges, and penalties for payment of alienable and disposable public lands within the city of Baguio considered as its town site reservation shall 100% be remitted to the city government. So again, malaking tulong, of course, to the occupants of these areas kasi they can now legalize their ownership over this property, at on the part of the city government, they will soon be starting to pay the real property taxes. Hindi natin sana makakalimutan na yung biggest income, even the barangay, is real property taxes. Share ng local barangay sa taxes na binabayaran ng taxpayers within their area of jurisdiction. So that's one. Another one, which have been approved by the committee, yung amendment of proclamation, the mining proclamation covering Upper Gibraltar, Mines View, Puksusan, portion of Luknam, and then Happy Hollow, and then Luakan Apugan, and then part of Atok Trail, and part of Kias.
Yes.
Again, lahat mga ito have been approved by the committee. Yung hindi lang approved sa committee ay yung bill segregating a portion of Navy base proclamation from the proclamation and convert the area into alienable and disposable because of the objection of the Philippine Military Academy. Yun nga yung dahilan na yung Committee on Natural Resources had formed a technical working group at bibisitahin po ang areang ito sa Navy base para nga makita nila yung factual situation of the area. At ito, subject to the authority in power of Congress to grant yung segregation or not to grant. Again, huwag natin makakalimutan that the power to reclassify and convert this land to alienable and disposable belongs also to Congress. So, despite yung objection ng Philippine Military Academy, igagatin yung committee ang lahat ng necessary facts surrounding this one, and then the most important, yung factual situation ng areang ito, kasi totoo nga na covered by PMA proclamation, ngunit hindi naman ginamit ng PMA for the purpose this area had been reserved. Portion only yung ginamit ng PMA. At meron namang batas, no less than an executive order of the former President Ferdinand E. Marcos, and under the Housing Urban Act, Republic Act 7279, na yung mga proclamation or properties covered by proclamation na hindi nagamit sa punto ay yun na i-proclaim, maalis sa proclamation and be converted as part of the low-cost housing project of the government. So, we will be waiting for the coming of the committee to look at this one. Then, of course, as we had said before, we did the file. Yung, to me, important bill, ito, yung anti-political dynasty. Okay? Which, ito yung isang inaprubahan namin sa special session last Wednesday.
Maraming version yun, Congressman. So, can you state first your version and then kung ano yung mga na-filter during the session?
Well, yes. Marami ang versions dito kasi we have, kung hindi ako magkamali, 25 different bills on political dynasty. I'm one of the author of the but what had been cited, that's why kinikriticize ng iba na is actually legalizing
like
political dynasty. I beg to disagree. This can be a good starting point. Maliwanag na under the approved bill of the House version, yung mga mag-relatives within the second degree of consanguinity or affinity cannot run
Okay.
at the same time in one province,
In one
one
province.
city. So, yun. Malaking bagay yan. Well,
In one province and one city, but if I do run from to in other province,
another province, hindi ano yan. Hindi, kasali na. Yun yung gusto ng mga iba na isali. Isali. Connected. Hindi naman, because alam mo, when we had invited the framers of the 19th
This podcast is sponsored by Monoflore's Egg Poultry. So Monoflore's Egg Poultry sells fresh eggs, and they are available in the locality of Mankayan. Of course, you can check them out by checking their Facebook page, Monoflore's Egg Poultry. Check them out right now.
87 Constitution,
yes.
specifically on anti-political dynasty. Article 2, Section 26 of the Philippine Constitution. And it was former Chairman Munson
Winnie
who
Munson.
was din assigned on this provision. At sabi niya, actually, sa akin, I do not agree on anti-political dynasty.
Yeah.
Ngunit, no, that's why, dalawang araw daw na nagdebate ang members of the Constitutional
The framers,
Commission during that time to agree on this one. Hindi sila makapag-agree. Hindi sila makapag-agree.
On what is the definition of
On
dynasty?
what is the definition? Gusto sabihin, talagang hindi basta-basta madali to define this one.
Yeah.
Kasi, yung problema kasi dito, one, the right of the electorate
Yeah.
to select.
Yes.
Kung gawin mo yan, you are actually depriving them of possibly
Yeah.
their choice.
Yeah.
You will interfere on the constitutional right of suffrage of private individuals.
Yeah.
Yun yung isang problema dyan na tinitingnan nila. That's why, nung daw, according to the testimony of Chairman Monson, confirmed by Justice Ascona, who was also a member of the 1987 Constitutional Commission. They came out with the provision, the Constitution, that the state shall guarantee equal opportunities to its people and prohibits political dynasty as may be defined by law. Hindi nila dinefine what is political dynasty.
Kasi
Yun
dalawang
eh.
araw hindi nagkaintindihan.
So, ganon yung provision. And yung dahilan kung bakit yun nga, hindi sila makapag-agree. So, the decision of the Constitutional Commission, let us leave it to the wisdom of Congress to define. And here is it.
So your view is this is a good starting point.
Yes, to me, this is a good starting point. It's not actually yung sinasabi ng iba na it's legalizing political dynasty. Kasi yung isang important thing, hindi natin sana makakalimutan. The issue of check and balance.
Yes.
Kung sa isang siyudad, yung mag-asawa, yung congressman, mayor, or vice mayor, anong mangyari sa check and balance?
Very common in other regions.
Accountability. Yun. At si Apo, Chairman Mulsio, bakit nag-iba ang kanyang isip? Because yung values of Filipinos na nagkakaiba, they are becoming somewhat materialistic. Na yun yung that's why he didn't agreed na yun nga, gawin ang natin ang provision on anti-political dynasty, but we have to leave to Congress, to the wisdom of Congress to define the coverage of political dynasty. Anyway,
So yung ano lang dito, Congressman, is that just in case this one goes through and become a law, there will always be, the Congress can always go back and then ratify in case na may mga lapses and loopholes ito.
Hindi. Yung mangyari, of course, the moment that it goes to the Senate, and anything can happen also in the Senate.
Yes.
They can possibly adopt certain versions of the House, amend them, or entirely come out with another version. That it will again go to the bicameral committee composed of chosen members of the lower house in the Senate. And matapos yan, it goes to the President for signature. That's why marami pa ang dadaanan yan. At considering the talagang controversial issue related to it, hindi madaling gawin yan. If you look at the composition of the Senate, magkapatid. Yun lang eh. That's why talagang
So would you think talagang aabutin ng ilang?
aabot yan ng maraming katakot-takot na debate. At let us say, that's why ang hirap pong i-detalye na ito kasi yun yung version ng House. Baka ini-explain natin pagkatapos yung lumabas sa Senado, iba na naman. Mas mabuti na lang na mag-explain tayo ng mabuti kung talagang approve na in tulos parang we will not confuse our own constituents.
So let's just say that in the Congress you already had your version.
The most important, tama yan. Now we have in the lower house come out with our version on anti-political dynasty. Hintayin na lang natin anong mangyari sa Senado. So that is one. Second, which is to me very important, I hope that it will be soon be tackled in the committee and as well as in the floor. Kasi even my co-members of Lakas committed na mag-co-author sila dito. This is a bill that I filed making it mandatory the requirements of a pre-audit bago babayaran yung project.
That's my next question supposed to be because parating na yung SONA. The SONA last year was the one that brought out the wide the corruption flood control. And like what I was saying that parang I was wondering, enough ba yung bills or kulang? So if you can continue your pre-audit.
To me, ito nga ang nakikita kong sagot itong problema. Kasi kung i-mandatory natin yung pre-audit bago mabayaran yan, siguro mawala na yung projects na actually hindi nagawa or sub-standard masyado na nababayaran.
Paano yung pre-audit? Yung scenario ng pre-audit?
Yung scenario ng pre-audit kasi, there will be the technical person who will check on the quality. There will be a person who will also check kung nasunod yung programs of
natapos ko yung reprab.
Yes. Puntahan nila ang project mismo. Paano matis mo yung quality ng project? Gaya ng simento. Yung kakapal ng simento, quality ng simento na nilagay nila. Kasi iyon, kung sub-standard yung quality ng simento, then possibly, yung decision will be remove and replace. Talagang lugi ng contractors yan. Kung gagawin yan at madidiscover, ay talagang remove and replace with the possible blacklisting. And then, that is one. So, ito ang difference of pre-audit and post-audit. Kasi yung post-audit, yung general basis ng post-audit, yung mga dokumento.
So, mga picture.
Makita ng auditor na kung okay naman yung dokumento. Hindi naman natingnan yung project. Bayad. pumasa. Pagkatapos pala, walang nagawang
wala.
project. Kasi nag-conspire yung loko-loko na some people in the public works and highways with the contractor and possibly other people like congressmen or senators. Yun, or influential businessman.
Yeah.
Yun yung nangyayari dyan. At yung aking bill, the mandatory requirement of pre-audit before payment will be complemented also by geomapping. Gusto sabihin, lahat ng projects inside the Philippines shall be pictured in the place in the map of the DPWH. So that kung i-click mo yung kanilang website, makikita mo ang itong mga
Makikita ng public.
yes, mga project. So, to me, ito yung it cannot be considered as in 100% correction or prevention of payment of ghost or substandard project. It will be very substantial safeguards na talagang hindi mangyari ang sobrang ghost projects na binayaran ng
Walang nakatayo.
gobyerno na walang nagawa. So that is one. Another important bill na final ko, nag-file ako ng bill to define the powers in the limit of the powers of the bicameral conference committee. Well, again, some were questioning me. Wala namang batas that define the powers of the bicameral conference committee. Sabi ko, wala nga eh. That's why we are filing a bill to have a law that will define their powers. Kasi yung bicameral conference committee is a creation of both the Senate and the House, the two houses of Congress. Ngunit, ito nga, lumalabas na yung Bicameral Conference Committee is the most powerful third Congress of the Philippines.
Because they can just change everything.
Na hindi naman sumunod sa procedure or rules of prioritization. Taking it as an example, itong billions na ghost project, alam mo, yung pagpundo ng project, it has to follow a certain procedure. Ano ang basic procedures? Unang-una, like in the city of Baguio, the city officials, barangay officials, will identify yung kanilang mga concerns na dapat ma-addressan ng gobyerno. Infrastructure ito. Sa national roads, no less than the district engineering office of the public works and highways will also include concerns on the national roads. Now, yung mga local projects na identified, it has to go to the City Development Council. It has to be approved by the City Development Council if the amount involved does not exceed 150 million pesos. If it is over and above that, then it goes to the Regional Development Council. Kung pumunta na sa City Development Council at approved by the said body, it will form part of the annual investment plan of the city government. So, and then, ibabalidate pa rin ng Public Works and Highways itong mga project. Kung validated na, okay na, that's the time. I-include na natin sa available funds of the government at part ng infrastructure project of the DPWH District Engineering of the City of Baguio, and then ito will go to the central office. The central office may remove some, decrease the available amount for a certain district, after which it goes, if I finalize ng DBM yan, goes to the President, and then the President will now return it to the House for deliberation. Then, kung approved by the House, of course, punta sa Senado also.
Yeah.
And then, basic na yung function sana ng Bicameral Conference Committee is to reconcile kung meron yung conflicting provisions of the version of the two houses of Congress, the lower house in the Senate. Ganun sana. Ngunit, hindi yun nangyayari.
Sometimes may natanggap.
Because wala ngang batas that define their limit of powers. Papalitan nila sa gusto nilang ilagay.
Lalagay nila
yun na. Nasayang na, nawala na ang proposal that followed the procedure.
Na napakahaba.
Na napakahaba. Yun yung nangyari dyan. That's why, hopefully, this will soon be enacted into law. Makita sana ng mga kasamahan natin, both houses of Congress, na sa akin, importante ito. And then of course, ito, yung palagi kong pinipoint out na sa aking paningin, parang sumusobra ata ang...
This podcast is brought to you by San Felsi Cafe, located at KM5 Balila Trinidad Benguet, behind the Caltex gas station. Mark up or gain ng mga gasoline companies, oil companies sa ating
dito sa ating lugar.
Oo.
You talked about that during our last podcast.
Yes.
And I saw you that you filed a bill.
Yes, we filed a bill to this effect, and we had discussed this with the Department of Energy. And then the Department of course, Trade and Industry, kasi yung DTI, yung monitoring team or given the authority to monitor yung exorbitant or unreasonable profit of certain companies that affect, of course, ang ating mga kababayan. So that's one. So, and then of course, yung autonomy of the Cordilleras. We keep on following this up, and of course, we held a lot of conferences with our regional representatives coming from the different provinces of CAR, and nag-commit naman yung Committee on Local Government na iti-take up namin ito after the SONA. We were supposed to take it up before we adjourn CND last June 3, ngunit isa gulo-gulo sa Senado, walang nangyari din sa amin sa lower house, apektado din kami dyan.
So it's really true that those commotions sometimes it disrupts the flow of work ng both houses, tama?
Natural. Tingnan mo na lang, basic, makapag-adjourn ba kami?
No.
Kung hindi nangyari ang paglipat ni Chis Escudero from the Cayetano Pangulo to the minority, which became
majority.
The majority. Kung hindi nangyari yan, paano kami makapag-adjourn sa... Kasi there is only one Congress. It composes of two houses. Hindi pwedeng mag-adjourn yung isang house na hindi nag-adjourn yung isa. Iisa lang kami. We must adjourn at the same time. That's why, yung usual procedure dyan, ay kino-communicate. Ready ba kayo sa Senado? Okay, kung ready na sa Senado, mag-motion na sila. Mag-motion din kami for adjournment CNDA. Ganon yung procedure diyan. That's why, maliban pa sa talagang seryosong epekto yan. Kasi paano makapag-sweldo ang mga empleados ng Senado? Wala namang authorized na magpipirma ng kanilang payroll and everything. Talagang maliban pa sa bills na nakabinbin na dapat ipasa nila,
supposed to be.
hindi naman ipasa. And then, yung mga promotions na kailangan yung confirmation ng both houses.
Yeah.
Hindi pwedeng i-confirm lang yung members of the lower house without the Senate.
Yun,
Kasi
Senate.
again, isang house kami.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isang Congress kami, I should say, 2 houses,
2 houses.
but only 1 Congress.
Congress,
Yun yung
right.
problema diyan.
We're speaking of the bill for the past month. I think maglilimang buwan na yata, and I think I just saw a post this morning. And this one, well, you're in Baguio, but still Baguio and Benguet is one and different, but still one. Meron kaming nakita dun sa, I think umabot ng 5 or 3 months na napakababa yung price ng cabbage. So farmers resorted to bringing their produce to other places. And then nakita ko kanina, I think siguradong susunod yung carrots kasi nakita daw sa baba na may mga naangkat na carrots being distributed all around Manila. So what do you think do we need a bill for this so we can regulate the prices? Ano sa opinion ninyo ang kailangan dito?
Yung nakikita ko dyan na I propose this again hopefully during the budget deliberation of the Department of Agriculture. Ito yung problema sa regional office natin na we had discussed this one with Regional Director Faustino Maslan when he was the head of
Sponsor Time. So this podcast is brought to you by Dems Auto Performance. Dems Auto Performance Shop offers automotive servicing. And verify sila ng kahit anong klase ng sasakyan. Huwag lang eroplano. Located at Alapang, Latrida, Benguet. Of course, they also offer off-road servicing. Sa mga naglalaro ng off-road, gustong pa-convert ang sasakyan sa off-road, you can visit Dems Auto Performance at Alapang, Latrida, Benguet. Or you can also visit their Facebook page, Dems Auto Performance.
the Department of Agriculture are.
Region.
Anong solusyon? Yung cold storage
Oh, yeah.
na dapat, especially in Benguet,
Benguet.
and then 4 sana in Baguio City.
Oh,
Malaking cold
cold
storage.
storage.
Kasi kung bumagsak yung prices ng vegetables, harvest them, put them in the cold storage. And when the necessity of releasing them, then release them. It will help also the buying public kasi hindi na masyadong biglang tataas na naman yung
Yes.
mga gulay
Yes.
kasi nandyan na yung
Oh, yeah. Regular, yung
regular
price
na supply. So, the dictate of presyo because of the supply and demand,
Supply and demand, yeah.
mabalansi. Yan yung kasi paano ka kahit na magpasa ka ng batas, anong klaseng batas na and then second na dapat ito.
So this falls on the department who's supposed to be taking care
Yes,
of the farmers,
correct.
right?
And then second, yung effort ng specifically national government through the customs,
Yeah.
yung mga smuggled vegetables
Yes, nakakainis kung
na
minsan.
affecting yung ating mga local farmers.
Yeah.
Malaking epekto yan.
Yeah.
Dapat yun yung siguro tingnan natin ang batas sa smuggling.
Yeah.
Kung yun, at i-include natin ang talagang ito nga, for sure it is covered, but if there's a way to somewhat review the bill, the law on smuggling, that will emphasize also on this
Yes.
on this issue. Yung mga vegetables kasi, yun din yung malaking ma-addressan kung saan may cold storage. Para hindi rin under pressure yung ating mga farmers.
Yeah.
Nangyayari ngayon, kasi because of walang cold storage,
Storage. Mabubulok.
kino-corner yung third-party businessmen yung
Yes.
mga gulay.
Right?
They go to the extent of supplying the farmers yung kanilang kailangan kapital. Ngunit, i-dictate nila na sila ang kukuha lahat ng kanilang mga produkto sa presyo na
Gusto nila.
more or less halos dinictate nila.
Yeah.
Kawawa yung ano. That's why, gaya ngayon, yung sinabi mo na, halos hindi hinaharvest ng mga cabbages and mga gulay dyan kasi lugi sila.
Yeah.
No, kung mapakinggan natin yung explanation ng ating mga farmers, at least man lang, kagaya ng cabbage, you need a price of 22 pesos
Yeah.
per kilo.
Per kilo.
Hindi sana bababa dyan. Kasi, of course, yung cost ng pagtanim nila, pag-aalaga,
everything.
and then yung handling and transportation,
Right,
everything,
right. Yes.
yung fertilizer, kung i-compute niyan sa kanila, it will more or less
22.
arrive at 22 pesos per kilo.
Per kilo.
So,
Yeah.
at least, konting a little bit above break even.
There's a competitive
Yun
price.
yung
Yes.
sabi nila. Ulit, yung nangyayari, kung talagang bagsak na yung presyo na hindi aabot sa 22,
Yeah.
ay hindi na hinaharvest yung kanilang tanim kasi maidagdag na lugi ang handling, packing,
Traveling.
transportation.
Yes.
Yun,
Yes.
so there we are. Kailangan natin yung cold storage.
And I think one of the thing na automatic masosolve is when there's a governor for the region, di ba?
Yeah.
Masosolve agad.
Actually,
If naging autonomous ito,
that can be one of the important reason na dapat meron tayong autonomous government. Parang it can do more to address local concerns in the region.
Yeah,
Hindi natin nire-rely sa national,
yes.
government.
Yes.
I called up the regional office of the regional director.
Yeah.
Kasi, hindi naman binigay sa akin kung mayroon silang proposal for cold storage. Sabi niya, mayroon, may pinupos ng city government na isa, ganito, ganito. Sabi ko, look at dairy farm.
Oh, yeah.
Instead na nakatiwang mga yan, bakit hindi natin, yun yung paglagyan natin ng cold storage.
This podcast is brought to you by St. Lucie Multi-Purpose Cooperative. They have their branch at Mankayan and the sub-office at the second floor of ABC Building, Palmville, Puguis, La Trinidad, Benguet.
Maganda, may kalsada na ano. So, then, ilukit natin sa Benguet in other areas of the city.
Yeah.
Parang we somewhat help not only the farmers but including the consumers.
We go back to Congress, sir. Nai-entertain ako dito. Yung congressman na may hawak na pusa. Congressman Barsaga. I think if I am not wrong, if what I read about history is right, he's like the third member of Congress who was parang kicked out, kumbaga, if we're school language. And then he was the youngest. And bilang isang napakatagal na congressman, if you are to define a Congress, a member of Congress, hindi ba siya sumakto sa parang yung dapat na astahin ng isang congressman? Kaya parang majority ng members of Congress for this 20th Congress is in-expulse siya.
Well, hindi lang siguro ako, marami kami na sympathetic kay Meow Meow
Yeah.
Barsaga.
It's very entertaining.
Gaya ng sabi mo, he is young at tingin ko magaling yan.
Yes.
Unfortunately, either that meron talaga siyang problema
Yeah.
sa kanyang
Let's just say problem, sir.
pag-iisip.
Problem lang. Yeah.
Oo. At hopefully na itong nangyari will somewhat make him think to redirect his intelligence to
Right.
productive thinking and focus
Yes,
rather
yes.
than yung problematic na kagaya ng nangyari sa kanya. Because yung una,
Mhm.
because it so happened that I'm a member of the ethics committee.
Oh.
Yung unang complaint against him na, when we deliberated, we had already warned him.
Mhm.
When we suspended him,
Yeah, it was
na-approve sa
suspended.
committee for 60 days.
Oh, yeah.
Kasi yung problema under our own rules, the maximum suspension na ibibigay mo is 60 days.
60 days, yeah.
Okay?
After that, you cannot give any more suspension.
Yes,
Yeah.
the expulsion nung susunod. So, when we had given him the 60-day suspension, he was already warned na repetition of the same will for sure justify a heavier penalty. Wala pa rin.
Yeah.
Inulit-ulit niya. That's why na loss ni Congressman Alvarez yung kanyang temper when it was deliberated on the floor. Sabi niya, hindi naman pa putang ina, pusang ina.
Yeah.
Ginawa na buhaya ng mga congressmen. Naggalit din siya, no? Pusang ina. Na point of order siya kasi it's already unparliamentary.
Yeah.
Of course, na-realize ni ko. So, matapos yung kanyang suspension, during the suspension, yung kanyang Facebook,
Yeah,
patuloy pa rin.
Yes, patuloy.
And then, dumating yung next complaint. Grabe. Yung sinasabi niya na medyo boundary sa sedition, yung kanyang statement.
posts, yeah.
That's why he's facing a criminal complaint.
Also, apart from that suspension, he's facing a criminal
Yes.
case right now.
I do not know if he settled yung complaint ni Diretsis Filipino Enrique Rason.
Oh.
He filed a criminal complaint against him. Now, so, anong nangyari? Na-deliberate, meron siyang abogado, ngunit tingnan mo ang kanyang behavior sa committee. Parang walang kwenta ang committee. Sinasabi niya, even during that, then just leave. Imagine ako ang isang nandyan na, kasi late siya when the committee had formed a reconciliation committee. And the committee decided na just give to a senior member of the House who had been experienced one. They appointed me as the chairman. So, kung pinuntahan ko, bakit ka na late? Sabi niya, well, I am just watching my... So, baliwala kayo na wala naman siyang concern. And then sabi ko, are you willing to conciliate itong complaint against you? Parang sana nga, kung maayos natin.
Yes.
Sort of yun nga, settlement sana.
Yeah.
Parang, no, I'm going to fight it out. So, anong magawa mo dyan? So, in short, ganun yung sabi niya, I reported it to the committee. Hindi lang ako. Sinabihan niya na talagang
She's going to fight it out.
Oo. Yung kanyang abogado, hindi naman nakapag-salita ng parang...
Needless to say, the attorney is like saying this is a losing battle. Maybe.
It goes that way.
Yeah, not
Kasi,
putting word into the mouth of the lawyer, but maybe.
Kasi, yung si Meow Meow yung tumayo si Meow Meow, mawala. And then,
basta umalis.
I am going to fight it out. Right in the committee hearing, lumabas. So, mag-deliberate ng committee when it was submitted for resolution. Of course, maliwanag yung ebidensya. So, he was suspended for the second time.
Yeah.
In the dispositive portion of the resolution approved by plenary, again, he was warned that possible expulsion will be the next penalty.
Yeah.
Kung mauulit pa. Nauulit pa rin. Yun yung nangyari dyan. That's why, wala ka talagang tingnan mo yung members of the minority, except kay Congressman Irisi, yung medyo si Congressman Tiangco,
Yeah.
sabi niya, hindi ko sinasabi na may kasalanan walang kasalanan si Meow Meow. Ngunit huwag naman sana expulsion. On the floor, he was there. Because si Dilima, si Chil Jokno, na ito yung mga party list representatives. Bumuto sila.
Yeah.
Ako pang I do not like to detail ang aking participation diyan kasi but anyway, it came to a point na walang ibang alternative ng committee but to decide to expel him. And then, when it went to Congress, sobrang bumoto for his expulsion.
Kasi yung naririnig natin just yung mga matatalino sa social media bakit yung ginagawa yan pinili siya ng mga kababayan niya to represent them. Bakit tatanggalin yung karapatan ng mga taga saan na nga ba yun na
taga Dasmariñas.
Ng taga Dasmariñas na i-represent siya. Wala kayong karapatan. But then yung sinasabi niyo naman is that there is a guideline that a congressman or a representative supposed to follow.
Well, tama yan. Because hindi ko mo ikaw ay binoto ng inyong distrito is a license to violate the rules of Congress. Congress has the full authority to remove.
Yeah.
Gaya ng sabi mo, hindi lang man lang siya inalis ng Kongreso.
He's the third actually.
So, gaya si Tibis. One of them. Hindi naman tama yung sinasabi nila na kung mo binoto ng tiga distrito, bakit ninyo naman alisin? Well, talagang I repeat, the fact that you were voted is not a license for you to libel, malign Congress itself. May rules ng Congress pursuant to the Constitution that it has also the authority to expel, suspend a member which is not behaving pursuant to the rules. We have certain rules to follow also. Even in ordinary proceedings, you are guided by parliamentary rules, specifically the Robert Rules of Order. Ganun naman yan eh. That's why kami rin, ulitin ko, ako, I'm very sympathetic to Meow Meow. But,
and based on your story, you went to great lengths.
Yes, to talk with him. At hindi lang ako ang
Wala talaga.
Even sa session bakit hindi ninyo parang baliwala tumatawa pa rin na titik sa kanyang
How will you compare him? Kasi may isa ring bata doon na congressman na medyo sumikat din yung pangalan, si Congressman Leveste. How do you compare him with the Congressman Leveste?
Well, tingnan natin kasi ang hirap na i-discuss yan. Si malamang may complaint na Tingnan natin yung detalye at in fairness to Congressman Leveste, it will not be good to discuss him na wala pang decision ng ethics committee kung sakaling maitutuloy yung sinasabi nilang complaint. Well, final ng gobyerno ang kaso against Libisty in relation to yung nangyari sa kanyang energy supplies.
Energy plant. Well, those two guys are so young, maybe perhaps Generation Z. Do you think some of it is a bit of a generational gap na hindi nagkakaintindihan yung mga seniors at neophytes, or talagang...
Well, ako suspect ako, it might be somewhat
They lack experience.
behavioral problem ni tao na talagang meron
behavioral
siyang
problem.
problema sa
May
na kailangan yung medical intervention dito. Psychologist, example. And I hope that si Apo Miao Miao will avail all of these possible remedies kasi meron kaming kasamang doktor din na sinasabi niya mayroong nakikitang problema sa niya. Hopefully, he can be redirected to sabi niya.
We are in Congress, and now we are on this part here. 6 weeks ago, the Congress has voted for the impeachment of the Vice President. And that is one of the reasons why we are here right now. So perhaps what we are going to do is we'll just go over the article. We'll just read it, and then I'll be asking some questions. So one of the part here is you said that it is the Congress responsibility to face a lot of matters, and among this is enduring question of public accountability, the principle that undergirds our constitutional order and sustains the trust of the people in the government. So let's just point it out that right here, you were just stating na trabaho ng Congress to see impeachment complaints. Tama po ba yan?
Very correct. Impeachment complaint cannot be started in the Senate. It's only the lower house.
Lower house, yeah.
Again, two houses of Congress. But klaro sa ating saligang batas na it's only the lower house that can initiate an impeachment proceedings.
Yeah.
Now, again, let us make it clear. The lower house has no authority and jurisdiction to determine the guilt of the respondent. The maximum authority of the House in initiating impeachment proceeding is to determine whether there is probable cause.
Yeah.
Which simply means that using legal standards and based on the evidence, testimony, documentary presented, there is a belief of a reasonable mind that an impeachment offense had been committed and the respondent is possibly guilty. Possibly guilty. This is differentiated from yung ginagamit ngayon ng Office of the Department of Justice, which is hindi na probable cause but reasonable certainty na ngayon. In short, mga elements that will lead to conviction of the accused. Yun yung ginagamit ngayon ng prosecution sa pagpipila ng criminal information. Sa aming sa lower house, it's only probable cause.
Probable cause.
That's why I have thoroughly explained my vote when I voted on this one. And I hope to all of you listening, unuulit natin, it's a constitutional mandate of the members of the lower house to act on the impeachment
Yes.
complaint. Now, sa nangyari kay Vice President, ulitin natin, hindi naman member of the House yung nag-file na impeachment.
Yeah, you said here.
Final ng mga civic society, pari,
Priest, nuns, lawyers.
medium,
Yeah.
ni madre, mga lawyers, yung nag-file.
So hindi lang din iisa, Congressman.
Hindi lang na isa yung nag-complaint yan. In-endorse lang ng some members of Congress.
Okay.
And then, nangyari ang, of course, proceedings sa Justice Committee or under the rules.
We're in the Justice Committee, kayo yung Vice Chairman.
I am one of the vice chairmen of the Justice Committee. Binigyan namin all the opportunity to the respondent to file an answer as well as to appear in each of the proceedings to somewhat present a contradictory or controverting evidence to the evidence presented by the complainants. Unfortunately, despite those opportunity na every hearing we have to check na na-serve yung notice to the respondent and her counsel na may return proof of service. Then, it is being placed on record. Yun ang nangyari dyan. So, nung pinisinta ng complainant, i-start natin yung sa disbursement of confidential fund. Na yung mga iba, wala na hindi tinitingnan kung ano ang ebidensya. Ito yung problema sa ating values. Kung nagsasalita ka dito na talking of the evidence, nakatanggap yan ng mali-malitang pera. Hindi naman.
Magbibiro sana ako, Congressman Manok.
Hindi totoo yan.
Just kidding.
Oo, hindi totoo yan. Tingnan mo, sa confidential fund. Alright. Hindi naman ma-dispute na talagang meron siyang confidential
So yung
fund.
confidential part na tinutukoy dun sa proceeding was the confidential part fund she used during the time she was a deputy.
She was she is a vice
She was
president.
the vice president, yeah.
At the same time, concurrent
Deputy
secretary of the Department of Education. Kasi, tingnan mo, lahat ng mga secretary of the department had to pass through the commission on appointment.
Yeah.
This is not the case of the vice president. She was immediately appointed as concurrent
Deputy Secretary.
Secretary of DepEd. Ganun nangyari dyan. That's why, alright, tingnan natin, confidential fund. Again, for the information of those that possibly do not know, confidential fund is subject to accounting and liquidation. Its auditing is not as rigid as the other kinds of funds of government.
But still audit.
Subject just the same to liquidation in accounting.
Yeah.
So, yun. So, nung nangyari, nag-submit ang Vice President ng kanyang liquidation under oath.
Under oath.
Dininay yung audit. Bakit? Ayun nga, kung i-detalye na naman yung dahilan,
Yung mga pangalan.
sabihin nila man na nila, bias yan kay ano. Hindi, the evidence will speak for themselves. Problema yan.
And you're appreciating evidence here as a well-seasoned lawyer.
Well,
You know how to
course,
appreciate the
of course.
evidence. Yeah.
With our
You
knowledge.
have more than 3 decades. Yeah.
That's why, yun nga yung nangyari. Yung testimony ng undersecretaries of DepEd. Yun ang problema eh. Then, diyan. Isa kalawa. Yung sinasabi nilang polluted yung si Ramil Madriaga as a witness. Ngunit yung isang mabigat na testimony ni Madriaga, sinabi niya, the Vice President created maraming bank accounts in different banks in his name na ang laki ang pera na deposito diyan
Oo.
na withdraw. Hindi naman sa kanya yan eh.
Mm.
And ito, he executed affidavit of waiver, waiving his right under the bank secrecy rule. Parang tingnan yung possibly
Yung
this
bank account.
impeachment court will look at the records. Ito, mabigat yan.
Oo.
Mabigat yan. Then, of course, next dyan, yung kanyang income tax return, nagtistigo ng commissioner ng BIR,
Oo.
wala namang malaking income na
From other businesses.
nakalagay dyan.
Oo.
Even sa mga businesses na wala naman.
Mm. Mm.
And then, yung kanyang sariling salin na under oath, wala naman nakalagay na malaking amount deposited in the bank or what. Wala.
Wala.
Let us take note that Chief Justice Renato Corona was impeached by the Senate because of
Because of
this reason.
Yeah.
Yun. Kaya ngayon, nagtistigo ng AMLAC.
Mm.
Pinakita na ng AMLAC na billions yung ito hindi yung AMLAC yung nag-open sa bank account ni Vice President. Yung bangko mismo,
Bangko mismo.
under the AMLAC law, mandated sila to submit to AMLAC yung mga suspicious
Suspicious accounts.
transactions.
Okay.
At ito nga ang nasubmit sa AMLAC. AMLAC is just presenting it to the committee because the committee had subpoenaed
Their
AMLAC.
records, yeah.
Now, which, if you look at it, talagang hindi magkatugma sa kanyang income tax return at saka yung kanyang statement of asset in liabilities network. Yon talagang dyan.
So you accept
then-
the evidence were from Exhibit A to, how's this? GGGGG?
Yes.
Napakarami.
Marami ang ebidensya nga eh. That's why those interested who are not biased and who like to know bakit bumoto ako. I have an explanation
Yeah.
of my vote that it is available for them to read. Maliban pa na sa kanyang video mismo So talaga
The part here where you said the respondent was afforded the full opportunity to appear personally or through counsel. Hindi kaya may isang rason dito is parang he's afraid na parang political persecution mangyayari sa kanya during the...
well, possibly others can see that. But sa parte ng Justice Committee, anong gawin mo?
Yeah.
Is part of constitutional due process na you have to notify the respondent. Ask her or him together with his or her counsel
Yeah.
to appear and explain their side. Yun naman lang ang ginawa ng so whether or not that is political prosecution, it's up to the judge impeachment
Yes.
court to judge. Kung ito ay political
Yes.
persecution or talagang base sa mga ebidensya na pinisinta, yun yung
So if we are going to parang wrap this up, parang sinasabi nyo na had she presented enough evidence to refute those evidence presented, parang let's just say hypothetically that she did, perhaps you have...
well, possibly it
right?
changes a lot of the minds of the
Yes.
members of the Committee on Justice or even in plenary.
Yes.
Imagine those who voted in plenary on this one.
Yeah. So parang, but now because she did not, you are saying that because of the evidence submitted, there is a probable cause, and now I would say yes that this would go to the judges for them to determine.
That's right. The next concluding point of my explanation.
Yes.
Since she failed to present a contradicting evidence to the evidence of the complainants,
Yeah.
this is an opportunity for her to be compelled
Yes.
in the impeachment court for her to explain all
Exactly.
these
Yeah.
evidence na lumitaw na naipresenta, and hopefully na justice will prevail. And yung mga judges natin who are senators will base honestly and fairly to the evidence presented, not because of political affiliations in color.
So in doing so, you said here that you just perform your duty
Yes,
as a member of
that's
the
correct.
Congress. Yes, this act is to refuse an act for not voting is like an abdication, sabi niyo dito.
Exactly. It will be an abdication of your constitutional duty
Yes.
as a member of the lower house.
And to be fair naman, because before this, I think before this complaint, there was a complaint filed against the president. Now, how is that different? Dun sa, so people will understand, how is that different dito sa case na ito, yung case ni president?
Malaki ang diferensya. Yung complaint na final against President
Kasi sabi nila, mas
Marcos.
malaki daw yung...
Oh, okay. Well, of course, yung sinasabi nila, mas malaki yung ninakaw ni
Marcos.
Marcos. Unfortunately, salita-salita lang yan na hindi naman sila magpresenta ng ebidensya. Ngunit, tukuyin natin yung complaint na filed against BBM.
Yeah.
One, pinay nila. They filed the complaint for against BBM for kidnapping Duterte. Na
Doon sa ICC.
pinupunta sa ICC.
Yeah.
Public knowledge naman na hindi kinidnap ni Marcos si Duterte. There is an arrest warrant issued by ICC that had been coursed through the Interpol.
Yeah.
The Philippines is a member of the Interpol. Hindi makapag-hindi ang Pilipinas kung implement ng ICC through, of course, the Interpol, yung warrant of arrest.
Yeah.
Yun ang nangyari dyan eh. Pagkatapos, sabihin mo, impeachable offense.
Yeah.
Wala. Basahin mo ang Constitution. Hindi impeachable
Hindi
offense
impeachable
yan.
offense yan.
Kasi unang-una, hindi naman totoo na kinidnap ni Marcos si DDS.
You cannot prove the guilt.
Right. Second, na-ground ng impeachment. Violation of the Constitution. Impeachable offense kasi hindi niya binito ang
Yung
General Appropriation Act 2025.
Yeah.
Meron siyang binito, ngunit hindi lahat binito.
Yeah.
Possibly, he had somewhat
Overlooked.
overlooked it. Some may say is negligent.
Negligent of duty.
He was negligent. Possibly yes. But is it an impeachable offense? Maliwanag hindi. It can be said as an honest mistake of judgment. And the reason why, sa akin, hindi talagang impeachable offense yan. Kasi, bakit? Inaprubahan ng lower house, the Senate, the Bicameral Conference Committee. Pagkatapos, siya ang ibiblame mo.
Yeah.
Dapat lahat yung nag-approve, kung yun yung tinitingnan natin, maalis lahat sila. That's why, hindi naman tama na talagang hindi impeachable offense.
Yeah.
Pangatlo, meron yung procedure na inisyo ng Public Works and Highways in the implementation of infrastructure project. Na again, yung complainant jumped into a conclusion na ito daw yung procedure na ito mastermind si BBM to ensure na yung mga flood control projects will be corrupted. Masyadong wild imagination eh. It's the public works and maganda naman yung layout yung public works na procedure. Yung nangyari lang dyan, yung mga loko-loko na some public works employees who connive or conspired with certain contractors and influential persons, members of Congress or the Senate or any other person to corrupt, deceive the amount.
Yeah.
Yun naman nangyari. Bakit you jump into a conclusion na si ano ang gumawa? Walang ebidensya eh. Next. Yung mga newspaper clippings na ang sinasabi nila, corruption there, yun yung kanilang ebidensya.
Evidence nila.
May serious decision ng Supreme Court na newspaper news is not admissible as evidence.
Oo.
It is admissible that certain happening occurred.
Yeah.
But as to the evidence of ano ang klaseng event or act yung nangyari, hindi admissible yung ano. Ganun. It is plain and simple
Yeah.
falling to the definition of hearsay evidence.
Mahirap establish yung totoo.
Talagang ano. Yun naman, Supreme Court nagsasabi diyan in series of cases that it had decided.
Yung yung parang video ni sino yung congressman na
Si Saldico, actually, yun nga yung next. Sabi nila, talagang siya ang father of corruption, si BBM. Yung ebidensya nila, yung video ni Saldico. Saldico is fugitive from justice. Kung talagang si Saldico, meron siyang personal knowledge na ganun nga, he should come back, take his oath and testify. We cannot naman swallow hook and single yung kung saan siya pagkatapos ipadala yung ano na si President o si ganito ang mastermind. It's not fair. Under our judicial system,
parang
under our set of rules.
kung mangyayari yun, pwede nang magpadala ng video as evidence to other people.
Kahit na kahit na mag-imbento ka, yun pala, ebidensya. Wala, you have to appear because of the right of the other side for constitutional due process.
Yeah.
Paano makross-examine si Saldico? Hindi mo pa alam kung asan siya.
Yeah.
Part of the world.
Yeah.
So, wala. Yun naman,
Most probably, umabanti yun kung umuwi siya.
Of course.
Yeah.
I am sure.
Yeah.
That's why we keep on saying, come home, take your oath, submit your affidavit under oath, and then testify. Parang that's why, in its totality, wala talagang makitang evidence that can produce probable cause that BBM committed impeachable offenses, treason, bribery, and yung mga other grounds na that should go into impeachment trial. So na-dismiss sa Committee on Justice.
I was looking at this, reviewing it for days now. And parang ini-imagine ko yung situation mo. And then, was this a difficult decision for you knowing that yung napag-usapan na pagkwentuhan natin before that sometimes when lies are often told, it becomes the truth because of the social media. So, like, I was thinking, is it very hard for you to come up with this one because knowing na parang it might somehow destroy your legacy? Kasi as far as I observe, hindi na solid North ngayon dito sa North. Parang marami ng maka-Duterte rin. So what was the
tama ka
thought during the time?
Actually, kung yun yung tinitingnan mo, talagang may problema. Ngunit sa akin naman kung ano ang tama.
Kung ano
yun na lang, mas madaling time will pass
Mm.
and the future will judge you.
Mhm.
If indeed this time, the future will judge you.
Mm.
Yun yung importance. As personally, ako, yun yung ano. Well, there are other factors na talagang it is causing me problem for voting on this one. But as I said, considering all those factors, mas sa tama na lang ako sa
Yeah.
nakita ko rather than
Yeah. And at the same time,
submit to
just
i-pressure na kahit alam mo ganun nga yung nangyari.
yeah, yeah. And at the same time, yung sinasabi natin, this is not a guilty verdict.
Hindi,
It is
yeah,
not. It
it
is
is
not,
not. It's not a guilty verdict.
Yeah.
The House, I repeat, has no authority to determine the guilt
Yes.
or innocence of any respondent in an impeachment proceeding.
Mm-mm.
Again, the limit of its authority is to determine whether or not there is probable cause. If there is none, dismiss the complaint. If
Yeah.
there is, then file the articles of impeachment so that it will go to the impeachment court, which is the Senate, with the senators as judges
Yeah.
to receive the evidence and come out with their judgment. Yun naman yung procedure.
Hopefully kung matapos na rin yung drama doon sa ano.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because there's a lot of yun nga sinasabi ko mga kaibigan, a lot of people are here, so maybe anong last yung sa pang-last natin, Congressman, message to the people of Baguio and to the nation as a whole.
Well, to our beloved people, the city of Baguio in our kababayan, sana naman tingnan natin kung ano ang talagang tama. Let us not be blinded because of political feelings and affiliation.
Yeah.
Kung ano ang tama, wag natin sana i-allow na masisira ang ating values or character dahil sa ating affiliation.
Yeah.
Yun lang yung dinadasal natin at magtulungan tayo to determine, like yung sinasabi nila na malita, hopefully those former because not all of them are former Marines. Those people will present
The evidence.
credible evidence to
evidence.
back up their testimonies. Huwag na yung imagine, yung una na kanilang affidavit, kasama na binigyan sina si Senator Lorin Legarda ng malimalita. Kasi during that time, si Lorin Legarda, party ng majority black na sina Soto.
Yeah.
Okay. Noong umalis si Dilima at kumampi sa grupo ni Cayetano, inalis yung pangalan. Wala palang naibigay kay Dilima. Paano? Sinong maniniwala dyan?
Yeah.
Ito, kalawa. Sabi nila, binigyan din nila ng malimalita si Congressman Alvarez who happens to be a millionaire. Okay. Sabi ni Alvarez, gusto kong tingnan yung Marines niyan. Iturungan nila ang aking bahay. Kung alam nila. Where is my house here? In Metro Manila. Baka hindi pa nila alam. Second, alam mo, yung dahilan lang na siguro. Kasi noong una naman, wala naman akong pangalan sa kanilang sinasabi. Ngunit, nung dininay ko, ni-record niya ang text ni former Congressman Matt Defensor sa kanya asking him to endorse yung impeachment complaint against BBM. Sinagot ni Congressman Alvarez, no, I will not. Nung natapos na sinagot na,
Ayan na, may pangalan
nag-iba na naman yung testimony yung mga allegedly 18 individuals na yan ay kasama si Alvarez. Again, paano mo paniniwalaan mo yung gano'n?
Walang exact na.
Hindi pa natin pumunta sa 850 billion kung ilan kilos yan, kailan mo mabibilang yan, ilang malita.
So you would agree with the explanation of Senator Lacson?
Yes, partially talagang ganun.
Hindi.
And that's why, as I said, hopefully, kung talagang meron silang alam, they should really back it up with
Evidence.
credible evidence. At tayo rin, gusto natin, kung talagang si BBM pala yung maglabas sila ng credible na ebidensya. Huwag naman yung ganun. Then pati ikaw, kumo, hindi mo sinasabi, santo si ganito. Ay, merong mali-malita na natanggap yan. Ano naman yan?
May nabasa pa akong comment nga, ay willing ka, ay mun sa pata, ay may dinawawat mo.
Ay, okay na. May kumamot, tagsapata. Takadwak.
Medyo natatawa ako nung... So, anyway, thank you so much, and hopefully, yeah, this will pass soon, and it's always nice talking to you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You can always
Thank you so much.
that one.
Rasha Decidente on voting in favor of the resolution setting forth the articles of impeachment against Vice President Zara Zimmerman Duterte. This is by Honorable Mauricio Damogan, Lone District Representative of Baguio City. Honorable Speaker, esteemed colleagues in the House of Representatives and the Filipino people, I rise today fully aware that our country is confronted with many pressing challenges. Some are immediate and felt by our people every day, such as the continuing increase in oil prices and the rising cost of living. Others are less visible, yet no less consequential, because they go to the very foundation of public governance. Among these is the enduring question of public accountability, the very principle that undergirds our constitutional order and sustains the trust of the people in government. These concerns, whether urgent or systemic, demand the attention of this chamber. They fall squarely within the competence of the legislator, and it is our duty as representatives of the people to confront them with clarity, resolve, and fidelity to the rule of law. I therefore rise not out of impulse, nor for any partisan purpose, but out of solemn duty to the Constitution and to the oath I took at the beginning of the 20th Congress, to serve the people, to defend the integrity of our institutions, and to ensure that accountability remains at the core of public office. At the outset of the 20th Congress, I was given the opportunity to serve as a member of the Committee on Justice. Among the many matters entrusted to the Committee on Justice, none is more consequential than the conduct of impeachment proceedings. Impeachment is not an ordinary legislative function. It is a mandate expressly vested by the Constitution in the House of Representatives, forming a central mechanism by which the highest official of the lands are held accountable to the people. On 9th of February 2026, impeachment complaints were filed not by members of Congress, but by priests, nuns, lawyers, and members of civil society, including those known as the Saballa et al. And Cabrera complaints. Their filing called upon this chamber and the Committee on Justice in particular to discharge a solemn constitutional duty. Such a duty is neither discretionary nor incidental. It cannot be set aside, deferred, or disregarded on account of other concerns, however pressing.
To do so would be to diminish the very mechanism by which the Constitution ensures that public office remains a public trust. The duty is imperative, and it requires us to act whenever properly invoked, guided not by expediency but by fidelity to the Constitution. Pursuant to the Constitution and the rules of the House of Representatives on impeachment, the Committee on Justice duly convened to determine the sufficiency in form and in substance of the complaints. Separate hearings were conducted, during which members of the House and interested parties were given full opportunity to be heard and to ventilate their respective positions. Thereafter, the committee furnished the respondent, the vice president, with due notice and required her to answer the allegations against her. The respondent filed an answer, generally denying the accusations. Following this, the committee proceeded with the reception of evidence for the purpose of determining whether probable cause exists to set forth the articles of impeachment. In the course of several hearings, the committee received both testimonial and documentary evidence in support of the charges. These proceedings were neither perfunctory nor superficial. They were deliberate, methodical, and exhaustive. At least 22 resource persons and witnesses appeared before the committee, offering testimony under oath. In addition, a substantial body of documentary evidence was formally offered, marked, and admitted into the record, spanning from Exhibit A to Exhibit 9Gs. Taken together, this submission provided the committee with comprehensive and detailed evidentiary record upon which to base its determination. At every stage of these proceedings, proper notice was served well in advance of each hearing. The respondent was afforded full opportunity to appear personally or through counsel, to contest the allegation, and to present countervailing evidence. Yet, despite these repeated opportunities and full measure of due process accorded to her, neither the respondent nor any of her counsel appeared during the reception of evidence. No countervailing evidence was presented to dispute, explain, or rebut the testimony and documents on record. On basis of the complaint, the answer, and the evidence presented, we were then called upon to determine whether probable cause exists to set forth the articles of impeachment. Probable cause, in its simplest sense, refers to the presence of reasonable grounds to believe what a wrongdoing may have been committed, based on the evidence available at this stage. It does not require proof beyond reasonable doubt, nor does it demand absolute certainty. It requires only such evidence as would lead a reasonable mind to conclude that the charges are not frivolous and are deserving of further inquiry and trial. This standard is deliberately preliminary. The function of the House of Representatives is not to determine guilt. Our role is to determine whether the evidence on record is sufficient to warrant the elevation of charges to the Senate, where the matter may be fully tried and judiciously resolved. In this case, the testimonial evidence adduced and the documentary evidence presented are substantial and compelling. Considered in their totality and viewed in the absence of countervailing evidence from the respondent, they lead to the inescapable conclusion that probable cause exists. To decline such finding in the face of an extensive and unrebutted evidentiary record would not be an exercise of caution. It would be a failure to discharge the duty imposed upon us by the Constitution. At this juncture, however, the determination of whether the respondent is ultimately liable for the charges or whether the allegations are true or unfounded does not rest with this chamber. These are matters properly addressed to the Senate
of the Philippines, which is constitutionally vested with the sole power to try impeachment cases and render judgment. It is therefore neither within our priority nor within our mandate to declare guilt or innocence. What we are called upon to determine is the existence of probable cause. Beyond this, the Constitution directs that the matter be tried before the Senate, where the issues may be fully ventilated and where both sides may be heard in their entirety. In this light, the vote in favor of the resolution is not a judgment against the respondent. It is a recognition that the constitutional process must move forward. It is, in truth, a vote that affords the respondent the full opportunity to confront the charges before the proper forum, to present her evidence, and to fully defend herself in accordance with the law. In view of the foregoing, I cast my vote not in judgment of guilt, but in faithful obedience to the Constitution that governs us all. When evidence is substantial, when due process has been observed, and when the opportunity to be heard has been fully accorded, yet not availed of, the path of duty becomes clear. To refuse to act in such circumstances is not restraint. It is abdication. Accordingly, with due respect to this institution, to the Constitution we have sworn to defend, and to the people whom we serve, I vote in favor of the resolution setting forth the articles of impeachment against the respondent, Vice President Sara Zimmerman Duterte. Let the case now proceed to the Senate, where it properly belongs. Let the evidence be tested. Let both sides be heard. And above all, let truth and accountability prevail for the preservation of public trust and the integrity of our democratic institutions.
Listening to El Maestro Speaks podcast.